Have you ever wondered how cheese is made? How does this simple ingredient transform into a delicious delicacy? Well, it's a fascinating process that involves a blend of science, time, and lots of patience. Cheese, in its many forms, has graced our dining tables for thousands of years. From the ancient civilizations of Egypt and Rome to the diverse corners of modern-day Europe, Asia, and the Americas, cheese has been a beloved staple. It's a culinary chameleon, a versatile gem in the gastronomic world. It can be sharp or mellow, hard or soft, crumbly or creamy. It can stand alone as a snack or elevate a dish from ordinary to extraordinary. It's used in a myriad of cuisines, from the gooey mozzarella on your pizza to the crumbly feta in your Greek salad. We'll journey together through the intricate process of cheese making, and by the end you'll have a newfound appreciation for this humble ingredient. So let's unravel the mystery behind the making of cheese. The process begins with just a few simple ingredients. The first and most critical is milk. Whether it's from a cow, goat, or sheep, the type of milk used can dramatically alter the flavor, texture, and complexity of the cheese. Next, we introduce starter cultures. These are beneficial bacteria that kickstart the fermentation process, turning the lactose in the milk into lactic acid. This not only helps to preserve the cheese, but also gives it its characteristic tangy flavor. The third ingredient is rennet. This enzyme causes the milk to coagulate, transforming it from a liquid into a solid curd. It's a fascinating process to watch. Finally, we have salt. Salt enhances the flavor of the cheese, helps to draw out moisture, and acts as a natural preservative. With just these ingredients, cheesemakers create a vast array of cheeses. Each one unique, each one a testament to the artistry and science of cheesemaking. The first step in cheesemaking is the preparation of the milk. Now, this isn't as simple as just pouring milk into a pot. The milk must be prepared in a specific way to ensure it's safe and suitable for cheesemaking. This involves the process of pasteurization or raw milk preparation. Pasteurization is the process of heating the milk to a specific temperature for a set period of time to kill any harmful bacteria. For those interested in a more traditional approach, raw milk can be used, but it must be of high quality and from a trusted source to ensure safety. Once the milk is prepared, it's time to add what's known as starter cultures. These are essentially a blend of good bacteria that are added to the milk to kickstart the cheesemaking process. They're called starters for a good reason. They're the catalysts that get the whole process rolling. These cultures are responsible for converting the lactose in the milk into lactic acid, a crucial step in the formation of cheese. This conversion process doesn't happen immediately. The milk needs time to acidify, which is a fancy way of saying it needs time to let the starter cultures do their work. The milk is left to rest for a while, allowing the cultures to gradually convert the lactose into lactic acid. This acidification process is vital because it changes the overall structure of the milk, preparing it for the next stage of cheese making. As the milk acidifies, it starts to coagulate and thicken, transforming from a liquid to a semi-solid state. It's an exciting transformation to watch, like a magic show unfolding in your kitchen. But remember, patience is key here. Rushing this process can result in a cheese that doesn't hold together or lacks that signature cheese flavor we all love. This process sets the stage for the next important step, the development of curds. So stay tuned to see how this magical transformation continues and how we turn this thickened milk into delicious, mouth-watering cheese. Once the milk has acidified, it's time for the curdling process to begin. Now this is where our friendly enzyme rennet steps into the limelight. Rennet, an enzyme extracted from the stomach lining of ruminant animals, is added to the mix. However, don't fret. Vegetarian alternatives exist too. This enzyme works its magic by coagulating the milk, essentially transforming it from a liquid state to a semi-solid one. The result? A delightful, jiggly mass known as curd. The formation of curd is a pivotal moment in the cheese-making process. It's like watching a caterpillar metamorphose into a butterfly, but in this case, we're witnessing the birth of potential cheese. The curd at this stage is a fragile, delicate entity that requires careful handling. Now let's not forget about the whey, the liquid part that separates from the curd. It's not just a byproduct to be discarded. In fact, whey is a nutritious substance in its own right, used in baking, protein supplements, and even as a livestock feed. But back to the curd. Next up, the cutting of the curd. With a long knife, the curd is cut into smaller pieces, a process that helps expel more whey. The size of the curd pieces can influence the texture and moisture of the final cheese. Smaller curd pieces will result in harder, drier cheese, while larger curds are destined to become softer, creamier cheese. Fascinating, isn't it? And there you have it. From the addition of rennet to the cutting of the curd and the separation of whey, we've journeyed through a transformation that's as much an art as it is a science. Each step, each decision, each action is meticulously planned and executed with precision, all with a single goal in mind: to create the perfect cheese. This process creates the foundation of our cheese. But don't go anywhere yet, we're just getting to the good part. After the whey has been separated, the curds are then prepared for the final stages. The first of these steps is salting. The curds are sprinkled with salt, which acts as a natural preservative. But that's not all it does. The salt also plays a key role in shaping the final flavor of the cheese, enhancing its natural tang while providing a balance to its inherent creaminess. Once the curds are adequately salted, they're moved on to the next stage, molding. Here, the curds are packed into molds which come in a variety of shapes and sizes. The type of mold used can significantly influence the final form of the cheese. This is where those classic wheel-shaped cheeses come from, as well as the more uniquely shaped ones like pyramids or squares. Now, these molds filled with curds aren't just left to sit. They're subjected to a process called pressing, which involves applying pressure to the curds. This does two things. Firstly, it helps to further expel any remaining whey. Secondly, it compacts the curds together, giving the cheese its firm texture. Depending on the type of cheese being made, the amount of pressure applied and the duration of pressing can vary. With the pressing complete, we're now at the final stage of cheese making, aging, also known as maturation or ripening. This process can last anywhere from a few days to several years. During this time, the cheese is stored in controlled conditions where it undergoes chemical changes. These changes result in the development of the complex flavors and textures that we associate with different types of cheese. For example, a young, fresh cheese might be soft and mild, whereas an aged cheese could be hard and robust in flavor. So there you have it. From salting and molding to pressing and aging, these final steps are crucial in transforming simple curds into the delicious, multifaceted food that is cheese. After these steps, we finally have our cheese, ready to be enjoyed. So, to summarize, making cheese is a fascinating process. It all begins with milk, the main ingredient, which is treated with cultures and rennet to kickstart the curdling process. These cultures help to develop the distinct flavors of the cheese, while the rennet assists in solidifying the milk. Next, the curdled milk is cut into small pieces, allowing the whey to separate. The size of these pieces influences the texture and moisture content of the cheese. After cutting, the curds are cooked and stirred, further encouraging whey separation. Finally, the curds are drained of excess whey and salted. This salt not only adds flavor but also acts as a natural preservative. The cheese is then pressed to expel any remaining whey and to help it hold its shape. Depending on the type of cheese, it may be aged for several weeks to several years. And that, my friends, is the delightful journey from milk to cheese.